Hello there. But still, whatever it is, I'm determined to get to the bottom of it. Those who are brought within close proximity of the towers are tempered, but even having understood the profile have to achieve from all this. Are the towers purely for strategic advantage, or do they serve some other purpose? I have conveyed Lord Ameryk's wishes to the continent and others. For the present, their role will be to facilitate communication between our allies and gather information on our enemy. Not only do the members of the Forum intend to adhere to their long-standing policy, they have made a point of sending Master Fortune here to explicitly state that fact, rather than simply refusing to involve themselves in our affairs. It would appear they are actively trying to prevent us from meddling in theirs. That does, of course, make Kryle's mission of securing our entry into Charlene nigh impossible. But I am confident she will find a way regardless. After the end of the Dragonstone War, I have spent many a moon roaming Kugani, Radazan, even Galamad, but never Charlene. A nation populated entirely by bookish types like Alphinaud is not a piece that appeals to me. I have a feeling the journey to Charlene is going to be quite a test on your nerves, in more ways than one. You'll miss this place while you're away. I just know it. But for now, the best thing you can do is get plenty of rest while we wait to hear from Kryle. Much and more have we discovered from the teller for his modifications since Thancred and I did return from Galamald. Verily, their troops doth appear to have been tempered in such a main manner as those engaged in the construction of the towering edifice in the capital. When Arvinard tried to break free the Amajah in the tower, it triggered some sort of alarm, and the captives were killed instantly. As such, we have no choice but to leave them in the clutches of the Tellerfray until a means of rescuing them has been found. In the meantime, the summoning of lunar Prinos will continue, just as we must rely on the Grand Company of Eorzea to put down such entities and prevent further abductions. So too do they rely on us to come through with our investigation. Well, Alfie boy. Alphanard is feeling the need to take stock. Elita, do you have some time to talk? I would like to gather everyone in Dawn's Respite, and together assess the situation in which we find ourselves. Let us take stock of the facts, shall we? The crisis at hand began with the sudden appearance of ominous towers in a multitude of locations throughout the world. We have since learned that said structures were brought into being by an organization known as Tellerify. The Tellerify's stated purpose is to recreate the final days of aeons past, an apocalyptic event that would result in the destruction of all we hold dear. Of theirs being the cause of untold suffering. Countless innocents kidnapped and imprisoned, their faith perverted for primal summonings. And unless we find a way to deal with the corruptive aura surrounding the spires, we can't even get close to rescue anyone. Those shielded with a blessing of light seem to be able to resist being tempered at least. But after what happened with Arvanad and Fordola, we need to be very, very careful about how we proceed. Yet while these threats close to home are of paramount concern, we mustn't lose sight of the situation in Galamald. As you know, the Televri are in the leadership of Fandaniel, and one other delightful fellow, Xenos Galvus, the Crown Prince and our dear friend. To date, he's reclaimed his old body, murdered Emperor Varus, and plunged Galamald into an even deeper pit of chaos. The capital has probably seen the worst of it. For a good while there, it saw the bloodiest fighting in the War of Succession, but that has since changed and in troubling ways. Aye, during our recklessness, the air was not once read by the barking cannons, or the cries of discord. 'Twas an eerie fog of silence which did blanket that ruined city. The inhabitants appeared to have been tempered, and with nary a word spoken, did they labour to transform the place into a soaring edifice born of nightmares. If they were indeed made thralls, it seems safe to assume that these events too were orchestrated by the Televri. An army of primals is awfully enough, but in light of recent developments, I fear it's the only prelude to a greater catastrophe. We need to devise a means to counter this threat, and quickly, before all our allies are overwhelmed. We will find a way. In Charlayan, I am sure of it. Master Fortuna's comments regarding the final days were curious to say the least. The Forum knows more than it's letting on. Sorry to interrupt. We just received word from Mistress Cryle. She says that arrangements for your visit have been finalized. You're to head to Limsa Lominsa and board the next ship bound for Charlayan. And on arrival, present yourselves as Associates of the Students of Valdesian, come to assist with the Order's restoration. The arrangements may have settled, but what of your thoughts? They must race at the prospect of returning home for so long. I am eager to see it, of course. Ahem, we should set off at once. Then I'll accompany you to the docks. You need at least one person there to wave and cry and wish you a safe journey. Oh! It's a grim reason to bring you to Charlotte. Not much to be done about it, I suppose. I would have liked to give you a grand tour under happier circumstances. Though a part of me looks forward to returning home, I've not forgotten that my father stripped us of the privilege of our family name. I hope it doesn't cause trouble with the officials upon our arrival. I might have lived in Master Matoya's cave for a good part of my life, but even for me, the thought of returning to Charlene is quite exciting. I can hardly imagine how it is for the others who live most of their lives there. I shudder to think what manner of truth is waiteth us beyond the indigo deep. Still more do I dread the prospect of discussions long overdue. Contrary to what you might think, this will be like going home for me as well. I may have learned how to survive in limbs of Laminsa, but it was in Charlean where I was taught, quite relentlessly, I might add, the skills to properly live. Sea travels can be tedious, but I don't mind it. 'Tis a rare experience for me. I never thought the day would come when I'd be sailing home again. It always seemed so very far away. Everyone's here, which is good, because I've already paid for your passage, and the fee is non-refundable. The ship for Charlene should be pulling into port soon, so please follow me and have all your luggage close at hand.
They've almost finished loading our cargo. We should be ready to depart right on schedule, or so I'm told.
Excellent. 'Tis nice to have a smooth beginning to one's journey, at the very least.
It's funny. Master Louis Soir came here on a ship very much like this one. And now, years later, the street urchin he befriended that day is bound for his mentor's homeland. With his mentor's grandchildren, no less.
Aye. 'Tis upon reflection that every twist of time's river and fate's whims are brought into sharp relief. But much in the intervening years, wert thou not caught attempting to relieve Master Louis Soir of his purse scant moments after he made landfall upon this dock?
Oh, really? Now that's a...
Will this be your first visit to Charlian, Sir Estinian? Sir Estinian?
Are we strangers newly met? Why this stiff formality?
I, merely meant it as a professional courtesy, since we are now colleagues in an official sense.
I'd rather you dispense with the sirs, especially in private company. Or I'll be forced to respond in kind, little Lord Alphino.
You've made your point, Estinian. Painfully well.
Better.
Are you all right, Tataru? You seem positively distraught.
Distraught? Me? Don't be silly. I think it's lovely that they get to see their homeland. It's just... we're trying to thwart the schemes of an army hellbent on destroying the world. And, once again, I have to stay behind and worry that this is the last time I'll get to see my friends.
I'll bring them back safe and sound, I promise.
I'll hold you to that.
Ah, good. You're still here.
Hori! Coulternay! What brings you all this way?
We're to assist the Maelstrom and the Kobolds with a lunar primal operation, so we thought we'd see you off before heading to the tower. Flamine and the others wish you all a safe journey, and promise that they'll look after things here until you return. We will too, of course. Aye, we your fellow Scions of the Seventh Dawn will do our part to ensure the end of the world won't happen on our watch.
We're set to sail! All aboard for Charlian!
It's time.
Then we must delay no longer. We will contact you the moment we learn aught of value. Wish us luck.
Have a safe journey! And please, please, be careful.
Will do.
And so you venture forth unto the unknown. A fate beyond the horizon that cannot be divined. A future undefined and in flux. In uncertain times, naught but the simplest words of wisdom will suffice. That which lives is destined to die. Love leads to loss. Every beginning has an end. Treasure every moment, every step of your descent.
Ooh, pretty.
And there, in the depths where souls and stars rest, find your truth.
Ooh. Nap time. Wee. Dragons.
Here. Feel. Think.
The day has barely dawned, my fellow earlier riser. Though we're hardly alone in that. Envious of those still sleeping soundly, no doubt. Called out to you, you say? I've heard nothing myself. In any case, I dare say the sea air will do you good. Why not join the others on deck? Charlian should be coming into view at any moment.
This.
My voice yet reaches you. I am glad.
How you doing?
Hear, feel, think. And thus do we meet face to face at last. My warrior of light, guided by the crystal.
Why now, Heidelin?
After your sojourn in the First, I believe you have your answer. You have gained an understanding of what I truly am, what Heidelin has always been, a primal. Zodiac was created to forestall the apocalypse which threatened the ancient world, and I was brought forth to bind him. Yet 7 times now, those who would orchestrate a return to that bygone era have rejoined a shard to the god I had sundered. The greater his strength grows, the swifter does mine own diminish. The power to draw your mind into the rift betwixt is no longer mine to wield. Yet though it taxes me sorely, I dare not leave these words unsaid.
Her eyes are so interesting.
Even bereft of my guidance, you and your companions have accepted the burden of this star's troubled past. A conjunction has begun to form, an intertwining of your time and mine. Wheels shudder and turn. Conflict looms. Monumental. Which will decide the fate of this world and all life upon it. When you truly understand what is at stake, and your journey has prepared you to surmount the insurmountable, then shall I honor the promise made in another time, another age.
Cast your peepers to the fore, folks! Charlians Just over
Don't call
yonder.
me Bummer.
I will not keep you further. Your traveler's heart must yearn to behold this unfamiliar land. We shall meet again, and soon.
I have so much more questions. Come back.
Oh, what a fine morning. Still a bit stiff, though.
Hey, guess what, guys?
And a good morning to you too. Taking a look at the island already?
Then let's go. Let's go! Might still be room in the prow if we're lucky.
Ah, the sleepers have arisen. There she is. Good old Charlian.
Oh, I see it.
Home. Home at last. Well, maybe not in Father's eyes, but we'll manage on our own, if we must.
You do know you're not alone in this, don't you?
Indeed. 'Tis as Sir Estinian said. Forget not the comrades who boarded this ship at your side, I prithee.
Thank you, my friends. We are ever grateful for your steadfast support.
Upon arrival, we will be disembarking into the heart of Charlian proper. There is no greater concentration of wisdom in all the world. I am confident that somewhere within that center of knowledge and learning, we will find the answers we seek.
Of the northern seas, where under the watchful gaze of Thaliak, patron deity of scholars, academics hoard all manner of knowledge and secrets. Once, they deigned to accept foreign students into a distant colony maintained in the Dravanian hinterlands. How swiftly they abandoned it once the first Garlean boot set hostile foot on Ala Megan soil. So averse to the prosecution of war, these men of wisdom, your would-be allies.
I thought they'd never let us off the ship. What's next, then? Entry applications?
Hopefully they find no cause to deny us.
Hasn't Sharlayan all but severed relations with foreign powers? Those of us without direct ties, myself included, may be refused outright.
'Tis true that, as a nation, Sharlayan only forms trade agreements with a select few neutral countries. But from a practical standpoint, an island cannot afford to be overly strict with its borders. Especially not if that island's people are wholly devoted to the accumulation of knowledge. If one submits the proper paperwork, with satisfactory evidence of identity and intent, then foreigners may be granted entry.
May.
Quite. So let us be absolutely clear on these points before we proceed. The immigration officer will ask for your affiliation and your purpose of visit. Considering Sharlayan's views on intervention, I strongly suggest we avoid any mention of the Scions. Kral has laid the groundwork for us to act as associates of the students of Baldessian, and our ostensible reason for being here is to aid in their order's restoration. Grahatir, it might expedite our progress should an actual student be seen at the head of our little group. Would you mind leading the way?
Of course. The immigration officers were this way, as I recall. Shall we? Greetings. We've just arrived and are eager to make our way into the city. Would you be so kind as to process our entry applications?
Certainly. I see by your mark you are an Archon.
I am. Grahatir of the Students of Baldessian at your service. I was assigned to an Eorzean survey team, but have returned to assist with the reformation of my order. My associates here will provide additional support.
Very good. I have paperwork detailing your group and its scheduled arrival for today. And it seems some few of your companions are also Archons. If you'll step forward, we can process those applications first.
Ishtola rule.
See how it glows? That list is etherically linked with the citizen registry kept in the main repository.
I've confirmed your status as Archons and amended your travel records accordingly. Welcome home. Now, who do we have here?
Alphino Leveilleur.
And Alize Leveilleur.
Your applications have also been approved. Having said that, the streets are abuzz with talk of how House Leveilleur's lord disowned his young progeny. And while such personal circumstances constitute no reason to deny you entry, I urge you to avoid exacerbating your present situation. Times are quite troubled enough already.
We shall keep that in mind.
These last two are not Sharlayan natives, but you will find their credentials are in order. An application was made in advance.
Name and occupation?
Elita Draconia, Saver of Worlds.
And it is a title well earned, I can assure you.
An adventurer by trade is what your documentation indicates. No mention of this particular title. Self-appointed, I take it? Either way, your employer seems willing to vouch for your character, so I shall, albeit reluctantly, grant you entry. Champion. And you, sir?
Estinian Valino, formerly of the Order of the Knights Dragoon in Ishgard.
Formally, at least. And what, pray tell, is your profession now?
Employed.
If you'll allow me...
Krell!
My associate is a mercenary, hired for his strength at arms. Surely you are aware of the dangers we often face on our forays into the wilderness.
Mistress Baldessian, if you insist on sponsoring his entry, then so be it. But while I appreciate that desperate times call for desperate measures, I find your choice of company concerning. Be advised that even a single misstep may have severe repercussions for your organization.
I have every confidence in my chosen company, dear and trusted comrades that they are. But I thank you for your concern.
Croyle! It is good to see you.
Likewise. Long voyage notwithstanding, you will seem none the worse for wear. There is much to discuss, but this is hardly the place. Let's be on our way, shall we? Oh! Welcome, friends, to Sharlayan.
As your mercenary, I should hope my welcome includes a generous salary.
Well, I had to say something, Sir Taciturn.
I am unaccustomed to fabricating lies on demand. Why should it matter how I earn my living? Here we are at last, the great city of Sharlayan. You may have noticed some similarities with Crystalium, yes? In fact, Oh, but we really should let Kryle have her say first. We can continue this conversation another time. You are doubtless eager to take in the sights. Not to worry, Elita. The city is not like to vanish before we finish our discussion. Even allowing the years I spent in the first past here in the blink of an eye, the city feels untouched by time. Allow me to extend unto thee my warmest welcome, Elita. May the wisdom of my homeland aid us in our endeavors. I'm fine, honestly. Better to be waved through with a stern warning than denied entry after all. That was about as awkward as expected. Still, we're here now, and that's all that matters. I'm glad I spotted your ship coming into port. The officers are born bureaucrats and sticklers for details. In any case, you may relax and take a moment to get your land legs back. Cryle sweeps the silence with a speculative look. I had thought to launch directly into an explanation of what I've learnt and how we might proceed. But this is Elita and Estinian's first time in Charlayan. And for the rest of you, a homecoming that was long overdue. You must have places you wish to visit, and people you're dying to see. Therefore, I propose we postpone our agenda so that you may all have sufficient time to recover from your journey and get your bearings in the city. Once you've settled in, we can reconvene at the Baldessian Annex. How does that sound? 'Tis a fine suggestion. We may not be welcome at the Levier estate as such, but I would like to nose around the neighbourhood all the same. I am equally untethered, as it were. There is no particular place that my kin call home. Still, I would not pass up the opportunity to reacquaint myself with the city. Likewise, a quick tour of old haunts might yield some useful gossip. The annex was west of the Aetherite Plaza, wasn't it? I shall join you there anon. Yes, we'll see you there. I too have places I would be remiss in not visiting forthwith. By thy leave. What of you, Estinian? My services as a guide are yours for the asking. That won't be necessary. Until we reconvene, I prefer to wander as the wind takes me. But I could... Oh. Well, Raha, would you like to join us then? You've been gone for quite a while, and this would be the perfect way to relish those dusty old memories of yours. Oh, of course, if you would have me. Come, Elita, Charlayan awaits. Oh dear, this enthusiasm is infectious, isn't it? After you, my friend. I am more than content to follow your lead. Grahatia is now accompanying you. Keep him at your side in order to proceed with quest objectives. You can leave Grahatia behind by entering a different... While Grahatia is accompanied, next try speaking with Claire. Do not forget Mrs. Trial, our worthy guide. All set? Then let us be on our way. Our first stop, amusingly enough, will be the last stand. It's a cafe on the west side of the harbour. Trial is also now accompanied. Lead your two companions to the last stand and speak with Trial as designated location. Conversation points on those offer additional topics of conversation. Enter the Colonial and speak with your quest companions to initiate these bonus conversations. Enjoy exploring your surroundings together. Come on, let's head to the cafe. It may not seem like so, but last stand is actually a very important part of the city. I'm grateful to have Krau's help in reacquainting myself with this place. It's almost as if I'm seeing it with new eyes, as you are. The waves are looking nice and calm. Accidents around here are rare, but it pays to remain vigilant. Seems you've always been proved friendly. Just try not to cause any trouble while you're here. The shape of the ports keeps any larger ships from coming in, which means that we have to use smaller vessels. Of course, this means more trips and time wasted unpacking and reloading. It's really quite a hassle. That ship you see before you will sail to Zalamosa. If you're so inclined, think of hopping aboard. Gazing out upon the ocean like this sets my adventurous spirit ablaze. Myriad wonders are simply waiting to be discovered. Why not venture forth and find them? I found myself passed to Charlene for trade negotiations, but I'm beginning to think I made a mistake. The merchants here are so stuffy and stubborn, I'd better off staying in Mantora. Discuss the storage facilities. With all the unusual wares coming and going at all hours, I expect the assistance of an intrepid adventurer would be highly appreciated. I see no reason why you couldn't undertake tasks which pique your interests. You have been cleared by the immigration officials after all. I look forward to the day your name is celebrated in Charlene, the same way as it is in yours here. This place is called the Peristyle, and it's the first stop for a cargo unloaded at the docks. You'll find the unusual necessities for daily living and other imports vital to running an island nation, but also supplies that further Charlene's pursuit of knowledge, namely, large quantities of books, specimens, and samples. Sorting these stacks certainly seems to keep the attendants busy. If gathering and crafting is your game, then speak with Grigg here. He'll get you some of the most lucrative work around. If you're looking for work as a gleaner, and you got the right skills, then we got the job for you. Should you know a capable tradeswoman in need of work, I beg you send them here. I guess I can't. My apologies. I can't serve anyone who isn't involved with the Guild Ship's Hunt initiative at the moment. I have enough on my plate as it is. I can dispatch those two to Labyrinthius and then I can send no one apparently to Thavnir. Ah, gods, we could really use an extra pair of hands in the field. If you couldn't tell, I'm quite busy taking stock of this unloaded cargo. Should you need something, I'm afraid you'll need to wait. This path leading out towards the sea is known as the Dalek Stoa, so named for the statue of the scholar which stands at its end. As you know, the Charlene people prize the accumulation of wisdom above all else. Thus, when Thalek was chosen as our patron deity, it was more a matter of pragmatism, I believe, an alignment of principles, as it were. We may have honoured him with a rather impressive sculpture, yes, but our faith is not so restrictive as that of, say, the Ishgardians. Individual Charleans can, and do, worship the divinities of their choosing. Now that is a sight one could hardly forget. the great statue of Thalak. As a student at Baldesion, I was usually quartered on the island of Val, but I would gaze up to the scholar's wise features every time I returned by ship to the city. Greetings, traveller. Welcome to Charlene. If it's knowledge you seek, you've come to the right place. I am Wamene, a professional lecturer at the Studium. I specialise in natural geography, including the history of the world's topography and climate transitions. I like to come here for a bit to refresh in between classes, but for some reason I'm asked for directions rather often, so I decide, why not act as a guide? Charlene is a city of knowledge, once a humble settlement founded by Archon Nukabov and the refugees he escaped from the great flood of the Sixth Umbral Confederacy. It has since flourished into the grand metropolis you see today. Prior to the Great Exodus, it was common among Eorzeans to refer to our Draconian comedy with the shorthand Charlayan, which resulted in the colonists officially dubbing our homeland Old Charlayan, or the Old World. Alas, the name appears to have stuck. But old or new, we continue seeking knowledge from all over the world to record in the Bibliotheca Historica, among other collections of invaluable wisdom. Through the waters, so the waters here can, Pearl lurks below the surface. A miracle we were able to make port without floundering, really. The statue of Thalak is just past the store. I would advise against trying to see it from here, though. Strain yourself too hard and you're likely to fall in the water. The oven-baked lobster is one of the last stand's most famous dishes. The flavour is said to be phenomenal, but unfortunately so is the price. The Gazette featured a piece about the so-called champion of Eorzea. They say this barbaric hero has prevailed in a multitude of battles, like some avatar of perfected violence. It's almost uncanny how closely you match the given description. What an odd coincidence. Step right in. If you place your order, find yourself a seat and we'll be along shortly. My friends and I were just discussing the Mahi and the practice of black magic. Did you know that... Wait, is it afternoon already? How long have we been sitting here? You have the look of an outsider, and I have little and less to discuss with foreign barbarians. You must try the Zurich. It's amazing. Best share with a loved one, if you ask me. The coffee here is to die for, but one cannot look past the charming tea set. I recommend you order both, funds permitting. Welcome to the last stand. As the final and subsided only bastion of dining in Sharlayan, we guarantee a quality culinary experience found nowhere else in the city. The studium is home to all manner of debate, for there are some who have taken to recording forensic victories, even betting on who will win and who will lose an argument. The sign of House Livior, who graduated quite a while ago, claimed the most wins, and has yet to be dethroned. Do you mind? I need to submit a written report on this book, and I've barely even scratched the cover. Here at the Silent Mentopolis, some patrons quietly read the books, while others, like myself, lose themselves to sunless meditation, until they are rudely torn from the reveries by noisy adventurers with nothing to say. That's my friends staring out at the ocean. They always get like this when they start thinking about something. Meanwhile, I'm left here to pass the time until the train of thought finally rolls into the station. The tale of the pauper who became king has been passed down for generations through Isbad. Close scrutinization of the names that localizations describe the story, however, reveals the possibility that this Ivalis actually exists. Wait, what's that? You're not here for my lecture? Are you familiar with the wandering minstrel? The tales he spins never fail to engage and enthrall. What I wouldn't give to receive a master class in storytelling from the minstrel himself. I'm assisting my colleague in his hunt for research materials, specifically a thesis by Mumbrida, but it's difficult to find any one tome in a library of this size. Oh, were you looking for a specific volume? Only Archons may check out forbidden tomes, but if there's anything else you require, simply say the words. I am rather in the middle of something, so if you wouldn't mind leaving me to my research. Thank you. I'm just here looking for some tomes. I need reference for my thesis. Luckily for me, if a tome exists, it most certainly somewhere in Numeron. We apologize for the inconvenience, but the reference desk is currently experiencing an unusually high volume of requests. Please stand by until this issue is resolved. House of Splendors only conducts business with referred individuals. Surely you understand. Something from multi-purpose facility used by lecturers and craftsmen alike. If you're looking for learners, meet. It's through the last door on the left. All this pressure is going to be the end of me. Oh, I hope I find someone who can help me soon. Oh dear. Am I ever going to find a craftsman for the professor? Oh god. Surely I must be spared. Oh dear, if only he were around me to help me. How am I supposed to approach any gleaners for help when the subject of our research remains undecided? Honestly, that man. Finding a worthy gleaner was proven tougher than I thought. Maybe I'm not suited out to this line of work. If my friend doesn't turn up soon, we'll be late for lecture. I'd have been here 2 bells early if it wasn't for one of the Professor Mikoto's classes. Mikoto, I know Mikoto. It's quite rare to meet an outsider with such a curious mind as yours. Classes are not currently in session, but when they are, this place is filled with the sounds of students exchanging ideas and soaking up new knowledge. But that would affect the theory of conductivity. You don't look like a student. This isn't learner's meet. We're researching prophecy. Lately I've been reading over the writings of Master Louis Soir in hopes of gleaning some heretofore unknown knowledge. My princess, my queen, so long as I can continue my research with you, I am in bliss. Debate is the cornerstone of any healthy academic environment. There is truly no greater joy than engaging one's colleague or the test of one's intellectual wits. What say you? Would you care to debate with me for a bit? Oh yeah, sure. I'll do that right now. I am researching the Far East Tankoto. Here's a bit of trivia for you. It is made of timber. Is that not absolutely fascinating? My, what a mysterious and exotic land such a place must be. Oh, hello there. Are you here for the testing? No, of course you're not. The only thing being tested these days is my patience waiting on the test subjects. The study of teleportation requires a firm grasp on the fundamentals of ether, so I make it a point to study the papers of those who have come before me. I'm currently studying a treatise written by Ikija Tsunetsu, truly a luminary of his field. Hey, that's the guy from Eureka, the one that studied with Cryo. Researching teleportation magic is difficult in that it requires an abundance of space, which in turn requires an abundance of funding. Thankfully, we can use this public facility free of charge. You. It'll take me a while to check all these, so you go on ahead. Well met, traveller. Might I interest you in a Chocobo Porter? Ah, do not tell me this is your first visit to the stop. I shall update my register with your name, so that you may access the location in the future. I am sorry, but I cannot allow you to hire a Chocobo Porter at this time. To ensure the safety of our birds, we only allow travel to locations that you're familiar with. I'm so sorry, madam, but the lift is presently out of service. I apologize for the inconvenience. next item on the forum's agenda is prohibition of consumption of the deleterious coffee biscuits. Who is responsible for this utterly baseless proposal? Oh there, Elita. Surprised to know your name? Well, you shouldn't be. You're practically a living legend. This is an Nymphantium, a monument built in tribute to the water spirits known as the Nymphena. Seems rather fitting for a city that erected a tower of statues to the ruler of rivers. Dalek? No. A wise woman once said that she who does not pay heed to the skies will most surely get wet. Sound advice if you ask me. Would you like to hear what the sky tells on this fine day? Welcome to Toffee Whipped Tomes. My bookstore may not be the biggest, but every volume you see is a carefully selected treasure. Browse at your leisure, and don't forget our modest range of sundry fruits. Hello friend, are you enjoying the sights of the city? As a proud resident, I'm always happy when visitors take a license to the Charlanian's many wonders. Greetings, I take it you've come to me about the retainer? Apologies, miss. Still preparing to open up shop, but please feel free to stop by again another time. I take it you're here to exchange materia, yes? And let us be about it. Me? Why, I'm a humble servant of Master Musamix, charged with aiding those who wish to avail themselves of the power of materia but lack the skills to do so. That is to say, I can affix materia to your items providing you supply me with both, and that the item in question has an open materia slot. And of course I will require compensation. Much as I enjoy my trade, I cannot work for free. You must be new around here. I'm the head of the merchants at Agora. There are plenty of rare and unusual wares for sale, but be sure to have a look around. See that stylish, shiny new house there? It's mine. I'd say I was lucky to snag a plot from it, but no, I really do deserve it. Information's everything. That's why I'm here chatting with anyone I can find. What? Did you think I was slacking? Welcome to Fizz Techno. You do not appear to be in need of medical aid, and I'm sure you don't need me to tell you this, but do take care of yourself out there. My mother told me never to talk to strangers, so I'm ignoring you, see? This is me paying you no mind at all. My friends and I gather here from time to time to discuss what we've been reading recently. It's truly helped us broaden our intellectual horizons. This is the estate of House Leviola. If you do not have an appointment, I'm afraid I'm going to have to give you to leave. Ah yes, the last stand. Now that is an inviting aroma. And here we are, the last stand. I may have mentioned this before, but although our research into Egyptian food preparation is quite extensive, the average Charlian tends to regard seasoning and flavour with a certain indifference. How can I put this? The food is bland, as encapsulated by our infamous Archon loaf. The prevailing sentiment towards cuisine is a dietary value first, and taste a distant second. There was one pupil at the studium, however, who could stomach the school's insipid meals no longer, so he quit his lessons and poured his savings into building a proper eatery. And so the last stand came to be. It is, as the name implies, the sole dedicated outpost of fine dining in Charlayan, the one and only bastion of the culinary arts in an isle of otherwise mediocre fare. I seem to recall their burger being hailed as one of the most impressive items on the menu. Not that I ever had the pleasure of eating one myself. Because you were a typical Charlene when it came to cheap and convenient, Raha. But surely Tataru has since taught you how to appreciate a well-prepared dish. We should all stop in when time permits and sample the cafe's delights. Shall we press in? The stairs on the side of the cafe there will take us up to the Aetheryte Plaza. The Aetheryte looks different from how I remember it. An unusual shape, isn't it? I assure you, however, it's perfectly functioning Aetheryte. Remember to attune yourself before we move on. Now, being the diligent tour guide that I am, I should make mention of the Confluence, a research facility located on this very plaza. Its much vaunted discoveries of the recent Charlayan stands on the forefront of teleportation technology. In deciphering the underlying principles of elegant Aetherites, it allows us to understand and reconstruct what was essentially a lost art. And off we go to our next destination. Our path leads northeast to the Agora, Charlayan's largest marketplace. Do you mind if I browse the shelves for a moment? There might be some hidden gems I've yet to read. Only a moment? How optimistic. Feel free to browse all you like, but we won't wait around for you. Perhaps I'll return here later then. These little open-air bookstalls are so uniquely Charlayan. I'd always thought them a common sight until I visited other nations. Anything worth cracking my corn pies for today, I wonder? Welcome to the Agora, where you can find wares made in Charlayan, as well as a wide selection of imported goods. They also used to sell questionable prototypes from the various research institutes, but I think that practice has thankfully died out for the most part. Otherwise, I can think of no better place to stock up for your next big adventure. Am I overselling it? Ahem. On a more serious note, the next stop on our tour is one which has particular relevance to our particular purpose here. We must head back to the Aetherite Plaza, follow the path north, then climb the stairs to that imposing building at the very top. These little decorative features are typical of Charlene architecture. Aside from the research wing, our headquarters on the Isle of Bal were rather simple and rustic by comparison. This is an Amphitheatrium, an area dedicated to the blessings of water. For Charlanes, water represents little more than life-sustaining liquid. It's a reminder of the great flood that precipitated the birth of our nation, as well as a symbol of the knowledge which flows from Thalix's divine ewer. This is the reason you see an abundance of fountains throughout the city, and a prosperity for utilizing water as a decorative feature in their architecture. Ah, what an invigorating breeze. Such biting perhaps, but pleasant nonetheless. This grand structure before you is the rostra. The name refers to the original public platform erected here, upon which a forum of elected representatives would deliver orations and debate policy. Although the stage has since evolved into council chambers, the nature of the forum and the duties of its members remain largely unchanged. Am I boring you, Raha? You seem awfully distracted. My apologies. From here one can see the entire city spread out below. The vista put me in mind of my arrival at first. Those who had gathered at the Trusta Tower asked me how they might go about building a new home. Naturally, my answers were all inspired by my knowledge of the finest settlement I could think of, the great city of Charlayan. And bit by bit, those few buildings grew into a town, a community, a Crystarium. I can almost see its echo. I see. Feel free to come up here whenever you wish. I don't think the councillors would object to you simply enjoying the view. Such memories should be treasured. For now, however, we must go on. Our spectacle of sightseeing concludes with a fittingly named Journey's End. Walk down the stairs to the east and continue straight ahead. Oh wow, that is quite the view. This neighbourhood is home to the highest echelons of Charlayan society. I never did feel comfortable enough to wander these streets on a whim. We've arrived at the journey's end. History tells us this was where those who put ashore with Archon Neophrons built their homes. In the present day, it serves as a residential district for the most important officials in the oldest Charlene families. You'll see that one mansion is clearly larger than its neighbours. That estate belongs to our friends from House Lavier. All things considered, we should probably keep our distance for the time being. And with that, we bring our little Charlene tour to a close. I hope it has proven to be an entertaining and enlightening experience. Now, shall we head directly to the Baldessian Annex? You remember the way, don't you, Raha? Let me think. We head down towards the harbour, cross the bridge to our right, then follow the path below the Aetheryte Plaza. Correct. After you, Elita. A princess hosted numerous researchers she can end up filling quite the assortment of requests with researchers, even listing them off for the greenest to do has been a trying task. Pardon me, I coordinate the acquisition of academic supplies for the studio, and this dodge of requests for subjects from far-flung lands has given me a splitting headache. Well met, good lady. I am Balsadare, one of the most foremost scholars in the field of comprehensive mythology. It has been my life work to scrutinize the myths of peoples across the land and throughout the ages, trying to glimpse the truth that hides behind commonalities of timeless stories share. This is it, the Baldessian Annex. As the joyous look on Raha's face has undoubtedly informed you, this is the Baldessian Annex. If you'll continue up the hill, you'll arrive on the doorstep of Phenomenon. But I think we've explored enough for one day. We can take you there another time. Inside with you then. I'm back, and I've brought Elita and Raha with me. Ah, you were right about the ship then. Hello, Graha, it's nice to see you again. And it's a pleasure to finally meet you, Elita. I've heard many a tale of your exploits. Ojika Suzuki? It's been an age. Allow me to introduce Ojika, cousin of Ijika Sunjika, and administration officer for the students of Baldessian. He oversees the day-to-day business of the Annex. I read the reports of the Eureka expedition. I hope Ijika didn't cause you too much trouble. He's impatient and impetuous, but he's a good sort at heart. This place is like a second home for the students. The Isle of Val served as our main headquarters, of course, but we often had occasion to visit Charlene. Whether to make use of the city's research facilities, attend conferences, or procure supplies from distant shores. And the annex here was built to provide lodgings for our members while we engaged in such activities. Now that our former headquarters is in the wrong side of the world, among other things, the annex has become the new base of operations, for all intents and purposes. And yet, it feels so empty. With so many lost to us, our organization is a shell of its former self. The day will come when we see the students rise again. But first, we must ensure that the Tefra fall. Through that door on the left there is the main hall, where we can discuss our options moving forward. Once everyone arrives, that's it. That is, you probably have time to rest before discussions begin in earnest. I've had private quarters prepared for you in the Andron, so please, feel free to make yourself at home. Ah, the nap rooms. Perfect for an afternoon dose. Oh, I didn't mean to give you the wrong impression. The chambers are quite well appointed. Far more than some cheap roadside inn, you may be assured. 'Twas simply that we were often so busy with research or exhausted from journeys abroad that we would slip into the Andron just to steal a few winks. And thus they became known amongst the students as nap rooms, even if many such naps might well last into the following morning. Say the word and I'll be happy to show you to your chamber. Hopefully the others won't be too long coming. I'll wait for you in the main hall. Do you have papers up on the wall of your room? It was not usual for occupants to pin up notes or documents and such. Then don't forget to take them when they go on their merry way. Sometimes it was quite deliberate though. You might see complaints addressed to other members or a thank you card for engrossing literature someone left behind. Beloved traditions that I should know better than to dwell upon. If we're to create a future for the students of Baldessian and so many others, we must look to the days ahead. Welcome back, Elita. Ready for a nap? As Graha explained, the Andron's rooms were furnished for folks needing a break from all-night research or recently returned from expeditions. The students are used to seeing those walls plastered with articles and diagrams about personal messages, but I imagine it's quite a surprise for our newer guests. Why not take them down, you ask? Well, it's often the same people who stay in these chambers after all. And besides, when I see old notes written by friends who've passed, it's comforting. In a way, it's as if they're still here with us. Oh, and just to be clear, these are properly appointed bedrooms. Any mention of naps is not meant to dissuade you from getting a full night's sleep. Clean sheets and warm blankets await. Rest as long as you like. But I think it's about time for me to head to bed now. Nap time for the Elita. Thank you all for watching. Take care and sleep well, sweet dreams.